Shwmae, croeso nôl. Dyma sesiwn 2 yn trafod ffilm Patagonia ar gyfer Uned 1 adran A Cymraeg ail iaith uwch gyfrannol. Felly, i ddechrau, amcanion y sesiwn heddi ydy adolygu'r cymeriadau yn y ffilm, trafod rai o'r themau sy'n dod lan yn ystod y ffilm, ac hefyd, i orffen y sesiwn heddi, dyn ni'n mynd i trafod rai o'r symbolau sy'n dod lan yn y ffilm trwy cytuno neu anghytuno gyda gosodiadau. Felly, i ddechrau, beth ydy'r geiriau canlynol? Felly mae geiriau ar y sgrin, ond beth ydy'r geiriau yn Saesneg? Mae gyda ni trist, ansicrwydd, pwerus, golygfeydd, natur, teimlad neu teimladau, dibynnu ar, gwrthgyferbyniad, effaith, teithio, cerddoriaeth, gwrthdaro, themau a techneg. Felly 2 funud nawr i chi i weithio allan beth ydy'r geiriau yn Saesneg. Felly cyfieithwch. Translate these words into English. Okay, don't forget as well, you can pause the video and write your answers down or discuss your answers with somebody and then press play again when you're ready to see the answers, okay? Felly banta ni, off we go then. So, we have, trist, sad, ansicrwydd, uncertainty, pwerus, powerful, golygfeydd, scenes, natur, nature, teimladau, feelings, or teimlad ydy un feeling, okay, one feeling. Dibynnu ar, rely on. Gwrthgyferbyniad, contrast. Effaith, effect. Teithio, to travel. Cerddoriaeth, music. Gwrthdaro, conflict. Themau, themes, and techneg, technique. Okay, so those are keywords that you are going to be using yn ystod y sesiwn heddi. Felly, y stori te. So, yn y ffilm Patagonia, mae 2 stori yn rhedeg ar un pryd yn y ffilm. Okay? Mae un yn dechrau yng Nghymru. So, one part of the story where there are 2 characters starting Wales and they teithio i Patagonia. Ac mae'r llall, the other storyline then, they are, once again, 2 people, they start in Patagonia ac yn gorffen yng Nghymru. So there's 2 parallel stories yn y ffilm. Okay? Mae sawl cymeriad yn ystod y ffilm sy'n dangos personoliaethau gwahanol i ni. Okay? So loads of different personalities being shown through different characters, different cultures as well, and lots of different themes. Hefyd, dyn ni'n gweld amrywiaeth o themau wrth i Gwen a Rhys deithio i Patagonia a Cerys ac Alejandro dechrau i siwrni i Gymru. Okay, ac mewn ffordd hefyd, mae'r ffilm yn edrych nôl i'r gorffennol ac hefyd mlaen i'r dyfodol. Okay, so the film looks back and forward. So obviously, Cerys is looking for to find out more about y gorffennol ac mae Gwen yn edrych wedyn i'r dyfodol. She's looking forward to the future. Ac mae'r ffilm yn dangos diwylliant Cymru i ni mewn sawl ffordd, ond hefyd beth mae diwylliant fel Patagonia. So we see life in Patagonia ac yng Nghymru through the eyes of the different characters. So, cymeriadau pwysig yn y ffilm te. Nawr, byddwch chi'n gwybod am y cymeriadau hyn yn barod. So, mae 2 ar y sgrin yn barod. Mae gyda ni Gwen a Rhys. Now, mae Gwen yn ffeindio allan, mae hi'n darganfod, discover, ar ddechrau'r ffilm, dydy hi ddim yn gallu cael babi. Okay? Felly, mae hi'n mynd gyda Rhys i Patagonia. So, maen nhw yng Nghymru ar ddechrau'r ffilm, ond mae Rhys yn mynd i fynd i Patagonia ac mae Gwen yn mynd gyda Rhys i Patagonia. Dydy Rhys ar y pryd, at this time, dydy Rhys ddim yn gwybod bod Gwen ddim yn gallu cael babi. Yn ystod y ffilm wedyn, yn Patagonia, mae Gwen a Rhys yn cael rhyw fath o problemau. Mae Gwen yn eitha ddryslyd yn ystod y ffilm, a wedyn mae hi'n cysgu gyda Matteo. So mae hi'n cwrdd â dyn, o'r enw Matteo, a mae hi'n cysgu gyda Matteo ac mae hi'n dechrau perthynas newydd gyda fe. Mae Gwen yn dweud, achos mae Rhys yn darganfod, once again, Rhys discovers bod Gwen wedi cysgu gyda Matteo, mae Gwen yn dweud bod hi'n meddwl bod Rhys wedi gadael, so dyna pam mae hi wedi cysgu gyda Matteo. Mae Gwen yn teimlo'n argoll yn ystod y ffilm. She feels a little bit lost, a little bit confused, and that's why she acts in a particular way. Then you've got Rhys, partner Gwen, okay, o cariad Gwen. So mae Rhys yn ffotograffydd, maen nhw'n teithio Patagonia achos gwaith Rhys. So mae Rhys eisiau cymryd lluniau o gapeli Cymraeg ym Patagonia. Okay? Dyna beth yw pwrpas y trip. Mae un darganfod ym Patagonia bod Gwen wedi cael profion a dydy hi ddim yn gallu cael plant. Mae un cwrdd â Martin hefyd, ac mae Martin yn dod yn ffrind mewn ffordd i Rhys, ond mae Rhys yn aros yn Patagonia yn y pendraw gyda Gwen. Hyd yn oed ar ôl ffeindio mas bod perthynas newydd rhwng Gwen a Matteo. Okay. Wedyn, mae Cerys. Nawr, mae Cerys eisiau mynd i Gymru o Patagonia. So mae hi'n dechrau yn Patagonia, ac mae hi eisiau mynd i Gymru i weld ble cafodd mam ei geni. Okay? So Cerys feels this strong urge, this strong belonging towards Wales, and she wants to go and see where her mother was born in Wales to see her Welsh links. Mae Cerys yn edrych ymlaen at fynd i Gymru. She's really looking forward to it, dydy hi ddim yn gallu siarad Cymraeg. So mae Cerys yn siarad Sbaeneg yn y ffilm. Mae hi'n mynd i Gymru gydag Alejandro. Okay, so unwaith eto, yn ystod y ffilm, dych chi'n gweld perthynas, the relationship rhwng Cerys ac Alejandro yn datblygu, developing, ac maen nhw'n ffrindiau mawr erbyn y diwedd. Okay. Alejandro wedyn yw'r un sy'n mynd gyda Gwen. So mae Alejandro yn helpu, nid Gwen, Cerys, sorry. Mae Alejandro yn helpu Cerys ar ei thaith i Gymru. So he is the one that helps Cerys on the trip, helps with where to go, helps with looking for locations for trying to find her mother, and he really develops as a character as a result. Mae'r daith yn newid Alejandro, mae'n magu hyder yn ystod y ffilm trwy helpu Cerys. A wedyn, tuag at diwedd y ffilm, towards the end, mae Alejandro yn datblygu fel cymeriad yn unigol. So mae Alejandro yn mynd i glwb nos, ac mae e'n cwrdd â Sesi mewn clwb nos, ac mae e'n dechrau perthynas, mae e'n dod yn ffrindiau gyda Sesi, achos mae'r ddau o nhw yn siarad Sbaeneg. Okay, felly, dwi'n mynd i roi 5 munud i chi feddwl am y cwestiynau canlynol. Okay? Cwestiwn 1. Sut mae'r cymeriadau yn datblygu yn ystod y ffilm? How do the characters develop during the film? Okay? Disgrifiwch y gwrthgyferbyniad rhwng Cerys a Gwen. So describe the contrast between Cerys and Gwen. So how their lives are different, what they're looking for, how they both feel at this time. Meddyliwch am sut mae Gwen yn newid o ddechrau'r ffilm i ddiwedd y ffilm. Think about how Gwen changes as a character from the start to the end of the film. Ac yr un olaf wedyn, pwy ydy dy hoff gymeriad a pham? Who is your favourite character and why? And cofiwch hefyd bod yn bwysig i chi roi tystiolaeth. It's important to give evidence. So for example, my favourite character is this person because I like what this person represents, or I like what this person shows in this scene. Okay, rather than just saying, I like this person because of this reason, try and give that evidence from something in the film to back up your opinion. Okay, so what I would suggest nawr te ydy, mae 4 cwestiwn wedyn ar y screen. So what I would suggest is you pause the video now and maybe come up with 3 to 5 bullet points on each question. So that'll help you then when you're revising for your exam. That'll help you have some ideas ready of some of the different questions here. So how do the characters develop in the film? So, you know, think about maybe each character individually. So we've got 4 bullet points there, maybe Rhys, Gwen, Cerys ac Alejandro. Disgrifiwch y gwrthgyferbyniad rhwng Cerys a Gwen. Well, I've already touched on that. You know, Cerys is looking i'r gorffennol, Gwen is looking i'r dyfodol. Cerys is really, mae hi'n edrych ymlaen i fynd i Gymru, mae hi'n teimlo'n hapus, mae hi'n gyffroes. Gwen, mae Gwen tipyn ar goll, she's a little bit lost. Mae hi'n mynd i Patagonia, dydy hi ddim yn hapus ar y pryd, mae hi'n cwmpo mas dy Rhys. So there's a couple of different things you could say there. Meddyliwch am sut mae Gwen yn newid. Think about how Gwen changes. So you could think of her feelings, teimladau, her feelings, perthynas mae hi'n datblygu dy Matteo, perthynas dy Rhys. Okay, how does she feel at the start? How does she feel at the end? Does her behaviour in the middle change at all? And does she come back around to being with Rhys? A pwy ydy dy hoff gymeriad a pham? So if you pause the video now for well, about 5 minutes and make a couple of bullet points there on who's your favourite character and why. Okay, bant â chi. Okay, hefyd yn y ffilm, mae cymeriadau eraill, there are other characters. Now, 3 o'r cymeriadau eraill ydy Sissy, Matteo a Martin. Now, dyn ni'n gweld Sissy a Matteo eitha lot yn y ffilm, ac hefyd mae Martin yn ffrind i Rhys. Felly, mae Sissy yn cwrdd ac Alejandro yn Nghaerdydd. Maen nhw'n cwrdd mewn clwb nos, ac mae Sissy ac Alejandro yn dod yn ffrindiau eitha da achos mae'r ddau o'n nhw'n siarad Sbaeneg. Hefyd, mae Sissy yn dod yn help mawr i Alejandro pan mae e'n helpu Cerys, achos mae hi'n siarad Cymraeg hefyd. Matteo wedyn, Matteo yn bwysig iawn yn y ffilm, achos mae e'n datblygu perthynas dy Gwen. So mae Matteo yn helpu Gwen a Rhys pan maen nhw'n mynd i Patagonia, ond wedyn mae'r perthynas rhwng Rhys a Matteo yn newid ar ôl i Matteo cysgu gyda Gwen. So, beth dwi eisiau chi wneud nawr ydy, pwy ydy dy hoff gymeriad allan o'r rhestr yma? So, between Sissy, Matteo a Martin, pwy ydy dy hoff gymeriad? And once again, rhowch enghreifftiau o'r ffilm. So, rydw i'n hoffi pan mae Matteo yn dangos whatever, okay? I enjoy when Matteo shows this, or mae'n bwysig iawn, or mae Sissy yn bwysig, Sissy is important when she does this in the film, or I like this scene because of this, okay? So unwaith eto nawr, beth dwi eisiau chi wneud, a defnyddiwch eich nodiadau o'r ysgol neu o'r coleg hefyd, use your own notes, your personal notes, and try and come up with some reasons, maybe put the character that you're going to choose in the middle, and then get some reasons off that as to why this is your favorite character out of these, and that just is helping you develop your opinions as well, okay? So that's helping you think about what relationships these characters have with other relationships, what scenes that you like that they're in, or maybe scenes that you dislike, and also maybe themes and symbols that these characters represent. Okay, so beth dwi eisiau chi wneud, please, stopiwch y fideo yma nawr am 5 munud, and then come back and we will move on to the themau, the themes and the story. Okay, right, bant Anita. Felly, themau yn y ffilm. Nawr, mae'r sawl thema yn y ffilm Patagonia. Beth dwi wedi ysgrifennu yw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'r themau ar y chwith. So, on the left here, we've got the theme, okay, thema, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we are going to think of enghreifftiau yn y ffilm o'r themau. Now, you will have discussed these types of things in class, so you may have notes on these already. But what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and develop your confidence when discussing the themau. So what we're going to do is, I've got some sentence starters there, and we're going to think of examples of these themes in the film, and then we're going to create sentences to put it all together, okay, to be able to actually discuss it. And don't forget as well that we can agree and disagree with other people's opinions. There's not just one answer. Okay, this is a barn, an opinion sometimes when you're discussing the themes, unless you're given an example, of course. Okay, so examples in the film. Right, so let's have a look at the themes i ddechrau. So, hunaniaeth, identity, cariad, love, gwrthgyferbyniad, contrast, perthynas, relationship, ac y Gymraeg. Okay, Welsh, so the theme of Welsh. So we've got the theme of identity, the theme of love, the theme of contrast, the theme of relationships, and the theme of Welsh. Now, what I want you to do is meddyliwch am sut mae hunaniaeth yn dangos yn y ffilm. Sut mae cariad yn dangos yn y ffilm? Sut mae gwrthgyferbyniad yn amlwg yn y ffilm? Ble mae perthynas yn y ffilm? Ac hefyd pryd mae'r Gymraeg yn ystod y ffilm, pryd mae'r Gymraeg yn dangos fel thema yn y ffilm. Okay? So what I want you to do, dych chi'n gallu creu grid os dych chi eisiau. Okay? Create a grid like this. And what you're going to do on the right-hand side is put some enghreifftiau, put some examples of where this happens. So once again, you can use your notes that you've already got and put some examples of where there is identity, where love is shown, where contrast is shown, where's the relationships mentioned, and Welsh. And then what I want you to do ydy creu brawddegau, create sentences using these sentence starters. Felly, okay, mae enghraifft o, there's an example of. So you could say something along, when you fill this side in, you could say something along the lines of, mae enghraifft o hunaniaeth yn y ffilm when this happens. Okay, there's an example of identity in the film when this person is talking to this person, or this is shown, or this is said. Okay, wedyn cariad, love. Where's there love in a film? So you could say, yn y ffilm, mae cariad yn amlwg achos. In the film, love is obvious because we see, rydyn ni'n gweld, we see, and then you could give an example of where there's cariad in a film. Thema arall ydy, another theme is. So you could mention something like, thema arall ydy gwrthgyferbyniad. Rydyn ni'n gweld enghraifft o gwrthgyferbyniad pan mae, and then give an example of that. So another theme is contrast. We see contrast when this happens, okay? Perthynas, relationship. Rydyn ni'n gweld sawl perthynas yn ystod y ffilm. We see several different relationships during the film. And then you could list some relationships that are said, but I would focus on one at a time. So first of all, we see the relationship between this person and this person, and then develop your answer on that a little bit more. Then we see a relationship between this and this person. And if you're really trying to push yourself, obviously, give examples of what that shows, what that represents, okay? And then we've got y Gymraeg, Welsh. Mae'r Gymraeg yn thema yn ystod y ffilm pan mae. So Welsh is a theme during the film when we once again see this, or when we once again experience this, or when this is said. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, and this will take you a little while, but I think it would be definitely beneficial for you to do maybe a grid like this, and definitely get down some examples of the themes. Now it's up to you whether you do it as a grid or maybe as a mind map. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back together in, say, 8 munud. And then what we are going to do is I've got some examples of where these happen in the film as well. And then we'll put some sentences together just to give you rai o'r syniadau allech chi sôn am yn yr arholiad. Okay, so pause the video now. Give yourself a good 5-6 minutes to get some examples down and maybe create some sentences, and then we'll go through some answers, okay? And don't forget as well, cofiwch hefyd, some of the examples in the film may be an example of cariad and perthynas, of love and relationship. You may see an example of where there's hunaniaeth, identity and Cymraeg yr un pryd, okay? But just try and make sure you've got clear answers for each theme, so that you are aware of where these themes are showing, where these themes are displayed yn ystod y ffilm. Okay, so what we're going to do now, hopefully you've paused the video and you've done your sentences and you've got a couple there ready. So what we're going to do now is go through some examples of where these themes come up in the film. Okay, so, okay, hunaniaeth, identity. Well, mae Cerys yn chwilio am hanes ei theulu. Cerys is searching for the history of her family. Mae Gwen yn dysgu mwy am ei hunaniaeth hi. Gwen learns more about herself. Yn enwedig ar ddechrau'r ffilm. So that's an example that you could develop on there. So you could say something like, mae enghraifft o hunaniaeth yn y ffilm. There's an example of this in the film when this happens. Okay. Cariad, love. Wel, Gwen a Rhys, achos maen nhw mewn perthynas. Ydy Gwen yn caru Matteo? Mae rai pobl yn dweud ydy, rai pobl yn dweud nac ydy. Cariad, mae cariad rhwng falle Cerys a Chymru hefyd. Ond ie, Gwen a Rhys yw'r prif berthynas yn y ffilm. Ond allech chi sôn hefyd am Matteo yn y ffordd yma. Gwrthgyferbyniad, contrast. Thema arall ydy. Another theme of contrast. Well, there's a theme. I've just written these two here. Between the two stories, of course, between the characters, of course. So you need to be a little bit more specific there. Where is there contrast? Between which characters? Between which storylines? Between which characters at the start of the film? Which characters in the middle of the film? Which characters towards the end of the film? Okay, there's different sections where gwrthgyferbyniad yn dangos i ni yn ystod y ffilm. Perthynas hefyd, rydyn ni'n gweld sawl perthynas yn ystod y ffilm. We see lots of relationships developing during the film. Cerys ac Alejandro, Sisi ac Alejandro, Gwen a Matteo, Gwen a Rhys, ac mae llawer mwy hefyd yn digwydd. A wedyn y Gymraeg, y thema o'r Gymraeg, theme of Welsh. Well, that's obvious throughout the film. Dydy Cerys ddim yn gallu siarad Cymraeg, ond mae hi'n dal yn teimlo'n agos at y wlad. So she can't speak Welsh, but she still feels really close and has a longing for Wales, okay? She feels close to the language, feels close to the country. Also, something for you to consider, mae llawer o Gymraeg yn ystod y ffilm. Pan mae Cerys ac Alejandro yn dod i Gymru, mae llawer o Gymraeg, and you need to have a think about, ydy'r golygfeydd yna yn realistig? Okay, when they're in a cafe and mae pawb yn siarad Cymraeg, ydy hwn yn realistig? Mae'r ffilm yn ddwyieithog, the film is bilingual throughout, isn't there, with the two storylines. Felly mae Cymraeg yn amlwg yn y ffilm. But I want you to think about this time, how does it affect the scenes that you're mentioning? How does it affect the characters? Okay. Da iawn, felly, dyma rai o'r themau yn y ffilm. So, hyd at hyn, dyn ni wedi trafod, we've discussed some of the characters and what their role is in the film. We've also discussed some of the themes. Obviously, you need to develop these a lot further, okay? These are just some examples for you, but just an idea of how you could plan your revision around those themes there. And also, don't forget, you've got a lot more, you'll have a lot more information and detail in your notes, okay? This is just a little bit of revision to get your revision notes in order and to remind you of some ideas that you could include. Dyn ni'n mynd I orffen, okay, for the last 10 minutes or so, we're going to look at rai o'r symbolau yn y ffilm, a couple of the symbols that sy'n digwydd yn y ffilm. So, we have pedwar brawddeg fan hyn ar y sgrin. A beth dwi eisiau chi wneud ydy cytuno neu'n anghytuno gyda'r gosodiadau canlynol. So you're going to agree or disagree with the statements on the screen, which discuss the symbols in the film. Now, the reason that cytuno neu'n anghytuno yn bwysig, achos dyn ni'n mynd I gorfod roi resymau. Okay, we need to give reasons, and that means we need to think in detail about the statements that are being shown. So, brawddeg 1 ydy, mae Matteo a Gwen yn edrych ar y sêr. Mae'r cefn gwlad yn symbol o natur ac yn gallu cynrychioli heddwch. So, Matteo and Gwen are looking at the stars. They're lying down and they're looking at the stars. Mae'r cefn gwlad, the countryside is a symbol of nature. And I suppose it can sometimes represent peace. Do you agree, cytuno neu'n anghytuno, that that's an important part of the film? I mean, why is the symbol of nature, pam mae natur yn bwysig yn y ffilm? Okay, what does the nature represent? what does this scene mean to you? Pan mae Mateo a Gwen yn edrych ar y sêr. Okay, so once again, you do need to say, you know, rydw i'n cytuno, rydw i'n anghytuno, achos, and you need to develop your reasons by giving examples, giving good detailed reasons. Okay, rhif 2. Dydy Cerys ddim yn siarad Cymraeg, ond mae hi eisiau dod i Gymru i ddarganfod ble cafodd ei mam ei geni. Ond mae hi'n teimlo'n drist achos dydy hi ddim yn deall yr iaith. So, Cerys doesn't speak Welsh, but she wants to come to Wales because she wants to discover where her mother was born. But she does feel sad because she doesn't understand the language. And this is going back to what I said previously about thinking about ydy'r golygfeydd yng Nghymru yn realistig, you know. Mae lot o Gymraeg pan mae Alejandro a Cerys yn dod i Gymru. And how would this make Cerys feel? Does it change the way she feels about Wales? Do her feelings towards the country and the language change? Or does she put a plan in place to help her learn the language? Okay. Rhif 3. Mae Rhys yn colli ffilm o'i gamra a dydy e ddim yn siarad yr iaith. So we have almost a similarity here, tebygrwydd rhwng Cerys a Rhys, because Cerys at some points in the film feels a little bit lost because she doesn't understand Cymraeg. And Rhys, when he loses that film, he needs help because he can't speak Sbaeneg. Okay, so you have a little bit of a similarity there, but also a contrast with the languages that they both don't understand. Mae'r golygfa yn cynrychioli teimladau Rhys. So you could say that the scene where Rhys loses the camera, doesn't speak the language, feeling a little bit lost, represents cynrychioli teimladau Rhys. Achos mae e'n teimlo ar goll yn ystod rhan yma o'r ffilm. So he feels a little bit lost at this point of the film. So maybe the scene and the behaviours represent how he is actually feeling. Okay, and the last statement here, mae'r perthynas agosach gyda Sisi ac Alejandro achos mae'r ddau yn siarad Sbaeneg. So there's a closer relationship between Sisi ac Alejandro because the two of them speak Spanish. Okay, so wyt ti'n cytuno neu'n anghytuno gyda hwnna? Okay, do you agree or disagree that they are closer because they both speak Spanish? You may say that you agree because when they meet, that is something that brings them together. Or you may say that you disagree because you may say that the main purpose of their friendship is to help Alejandro and Cerys find out what she's aiming to know, what she's looking for in Nghymru. Okay, but what you do need to do, as I've previously said, is you do need to give examples from the film, and you will have watched this and you will have analysed it, so you will have your nodiadau yn barod i wneud hwnna. But what I want you to do now is I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. Once again, I'd like you to pause the video and look at the statements on the screen and say if you agree or disagree and why. Okay, a maen nhw'n dangos wedyn rai o'r symbolau sy'n dod lan. So we see the symbol of the cefn gwlad, nature, and the countryside. We see the symbol of Iaith, language, and how that affects the film. We see teimladau Rhys, and then we also see, once again, Iaith and perthynas together, the theme of relationship, but also language, affecting that relationship between Sisi and Alejandro. Okay, so pause the clip now, and then come back to it when you've agreed or disagreed with those 4 statements. Okay, right. Ewn ni trwy cwbl o syniadau te cyn diwedd y sesiwn. Felly, mae Mateo a Gwen yn edrych ar y sêr. Mae'r cefn gwlad yn symbol o natur. Pam mae natur yn bwysig? Wel, mae'r natur ac mae'r cefn gwlad ym Patagonia ac yng Nghymru yn wahanol i ddechrau. Okay? So, the nature and the countryside in Wales and Patagonia does have its differences. And you could say that sometimes bod natur yn cynrychioli heddwch, but at that time in the film, does the relationship between Mateo and Gwen represent peace? So you could look at maybe how they would both be feeling at that time. Would Mateo's feelings be different to Gwen's feelings? And then you can agree or disagree with that there. Cerys ddim yn siarad Cymraeg, ond mae hi eisiau dod I Gymru. Mae hi'n teimlo'n drist achos dydy hi ddim yn deall yr iaith. She does feel a little bit sad bod hi'n clywed lot o Gymraeg a dydy hi ddim yn siarad yr iaith. Ond mae pwrpas gyda Cerys hefyd. She's got that purpose. She's got that amcan, the aim of finding out mwy am hanes ei theulu hi. And yes, she finds it difficult and there are lots of problemau ar y ffordd. Ond mae Cerys yn teimlo'n bod rhaid iddi hi ffindo mwy am y hanes na. She feels like she has to, she must, and she's not going to stop. Okay, so yes, she's a bit sad that she doesn't understand the language, ond mae pwrpas dy Cerys yn ystod y ffilm, a mae hi'n teimlo'n agos at Gymru mewn ffyrdd gwahanol, okay, in different ways. So I think we could argue that as well. Mae Rhys yn colli ffilm o'i gamra a dydy ddim yn siarad yr iaith. And at this time, mae Rhys yn anhapus. Dydy ddim yn gwybod beth I wneud. We do see different sides of Rhys, but you could say mae Rhys yn anhapus ar ddechrau'r ffilm hefyd. Rhys shows a lot of states of unhappiness during the film and uncertainty during the film. But I suppose he does show that he wants to make his relationship work when he is in Patagonia and he decides not to leave. Okay, and then you've got my perthynas agosach gyda Sesi ac Alejandro, achos maen nhw'n siarad Sbaeneg. Well, you could say wrth gwrs, mae'r ddau yn siarad yr un iaith, maen nhw'n mynd I gyfathrebu'n well. Okay, they speak the same language, they're going to be able to communicate better, they understand each other, because therefore, as a result of them both speaking Spanish, they can help Cerys and Alejandro. What you also could say is that they have a really good friendship anyway. They seem to get on. Sesi is obviously helping out where Alejandro and Cerys are staying, and you could say that it's more that they're really good friends and less to do with the Iaith. But I think it is something there where, because they have met previously and they do speak the same language, that they do get on better and they have a closer friendship. Okay, felly, just dyma'r rai o'r syniadau nawr te. So, we've had a look at the cymeriadau, okay? So we started off looking at keywords, then we looked at some of the characters, then we looked at some of the themes, and now we've looked at some of the symboli, the symbols that happen in the film. Now, there's a lot more that happens in the film that you need to have a think about, okay? And you will have done, and you will have notes on it already. But these are just something for you to consider when you're revising and when you're thinking of the ideas and when you're thinking of your opinions of the film and what you think that it links to. There's just some ideas there. Now, it's obviously up to you how you complete your revision notes, whether you do something like a mind map or something like a revision grid or maybe cue cards, whatever works for you. But I hope the video has been helpful and has given you just a little bit of a reminder of what happens in the film and some of the themes and symbols that arise. Diolch yn fawr iawn am eich amser heddi. Mae hefyd sesiwn 1 ar gael ar y wefan, where we looked at Iaith hefyd for uwchgyfrannol, for the AS level. So that's already available for you. And there will be more sessions yn y dyfodol hefyd. Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn am eich amser a pob lwc gyda'r arholiadau. Diolch.